Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to Sunday School. What would you do if today, all of a sudden, you became royalty? Would you build a fancy palace? Would you order people around? What would you do? Today we're going to read about a boy named Josiah. Josiah became king of Israel when he was only 8 years old. Let's read about him. Today's story is called Boy King Josiah. A boy named Josiah became the king of Judah when he was only 8 years old. Josiah loved God. Many bad kings had ruled before him. The temple in Jerusalem had started to crumble. People had not worshipped there for many years. King Josiah decided to fix it up. He wanted his people to worship God in the temple again. So King Josiah hired workers to repair it. One day, as the men were working, a priest found a scroll hidden in the wall. The priest showed the scroll to the king. It was the Book of Law. King Josiah called everyone together. Then he read them God's laws. The people made a promise to each other and to God. We will always obey God's laws. That's the end of our story. How old was Josiah when he became king of Israel? Do you remember? That's right, he was only 8 years old. What do you think it would be like to be a king or a queen at 8 years old? It's probably a lot of responsibility, huh? The temple in Jerusalem was a place where people would go to worship God. Why was the temple crumbling? People had not worshipped there in many years. Now Josiah loved God and he wanted to worship him in the temple again, so he hired workers to repair the temple. While the men were working, the priests found a scroll hidden in the temple. The scroll was the Book of Law, which taught people how to obey God. Where was the scroll hidden? Do you remember? In the wall! It was hidden in the walls of the temple. Now King Josiah read the Book of Law to all the people, and the people promised to obey God's law and serve God. Josiah loved God and wanted the people of Judah to honor and to love God too. Do you think Josiah was a good king? Sounds like it, huh? What makes a person a good king or a bad king? Josiah was a good king because he loved God and he led his people to love and obey God too. A good leader does the right thing and leads other people to do the right thing too. Even though we're not kings and queens, we are still leaders in God's kingdom and we can lead others to follow God. That's all we have time for today. Let's close in a prayer. Dear God, please help us to love you like King Josiah did. Help us to be good leaders who also help other people to love and obey you. Amen. Bye, boys and girls. I'll see you next week.